It always begins exactly the same way. A sudden, lightning bolt spark of pure inspiration hits your brain out of nowhere. Your brain goes into hyperdrive. You see the entire vision perfectly mapped out in your head. It is flawless, revolutionary, and brilliant. You sit down with ultimate momentum. The energy is high, the motivation is peaking, and you are ready to finally build it. The initial progress is intoxicating. Within the first few hours, you assemble the core framework. It looks clean, and it actually works. But then, right at the peak of your flow, the silent assassin of creativity enters the room. You whisper to yourself, "What if it could be better? What if it could be better?" You make one tiny, unnecessary adjustment. It's a micro tweak, a change that absolutely nobody else would ever notice but you.
And just like that, you step directly onto the infinite treadmill of over-engineering. You stop building the idea and start micro-optimizing it.
Your scope explodes. A project that was supposed to take a weekend suddenly turns into a 6-month structural masterpiece in your mind. This is too much! Then comes the comparison trap. You open up your feed and look at the highly curated, seasoned work of global experts. Your standards immediately skyrocket to an impossible level. Suddenly, your real-world progress feels basic, flawed, and entirely inadequate. So you make a drastic move. You tear down the perfectly functional progress you made, convincing yourself you need to start over from scratch.
But the second time around, the magic is gone. The friction is higher, the expectations are suffocating, and the momentum has completely stalled.
Welcome to perfectionism paralysis. You are no longer creating, you are simply managing the profound anxiety of your own high standards. Because the project now feels too daunting to face, your brain deploys a defensive mechanism: structured procrastination. You clean your desk, organize your files, and research new tools. You do everything except the actual work required to finish the project.
This is how project graveyards are born. A vast digital archive of brilliant ideas that reached 80% completion and were abandoned forever.
Psychology reveals a brutal truth here. Perfectionism is not a badge of honor. It is not a high standard. It is a sophisticated cloaking device for fear.
If a project is never truly finished, it can never be criticized. By keeping it incomplete, you protect your ego from the judgment of the world.
To break this toxic loop, you have to weaponize a fundamental law of efficiency, the Pareto principle. The law states that 80% of the total value of any project comes from just 20% of the initial effort. The remaining 20% of the value requires 80% of your time. This is the danger zone. You must learn to spot the point of diminishing returns. You must adopt a new operational mindset. Ship to learn. Completion is not a final static verdict on your talent. It is simply a data collection method. An imperfect product that exists in the real world will always be infinitely more valuable than a perfect masterpiece that only exists in your head. Give yourself permission to create a garbage first draft. Lower the stakes entirely. You cannot optimize something that doesn't exist yet. Equipped with this psychological framework, you return to the desk. You pull an old, unfinished idea out of the graveyard. You aggressively slash the scope. You cut out the bells, the whistles, and the endless micro-tweaks. You focus strictly on the core utility. The familiar anxiety will creep back in. Your brain will scream that it isn't ready yet. Push through the discomfort anyway. You hit send. You launch the project. And the moment it leaves your hands, a profound sense of psychological relief washes over you. You realize the world didn't end because it wasn't perfect. In fact, people love it. You broke the loop, and you finally finished what you started. Stop optimizing. Start finishing. Subscribe to Reason Minds, master your environment, and I will see you in the next breakdown.